I haven't done a rambling video in a long time, so I thought I had so many thoughts buzzing around my head today. I thought, man, I have got to talk about this. And what the thing I was thinking about the most is if there was advice I could give to myself as I was getting out of high school, or if there's advice I could give to anybody who's just getting out of high school, what would it be? And the first thing that came to my head was, so the backstory of my life is that when I got out of high school, I realized how insanely unprepared I was for the world. When I read the story about Buddha, what's his name? Prince Chandragupta. I can't even pronounce it. Chandragupta. When I was reading the story about this guy, I really feel like I really relate to this dude because he was super sheltered. He was, he was raised as royalty. His father was this warlord, and his father did everything in his power to shelter him from the bad, to keep him from seeing, famines and war and all this stuff. And one day, Prince Chandragupta, he goes outside for the first time, goes outside the palace, and he sees, starvation. He sees homelessness. He sees that everybody's life isn't like his life, and it convinces him that, the life he is living, isn't really worth it. He's not really living life. So in order to find the meaning of life, he leaves the shelter walls, and he goes through all these different events in his life, which that's about as far as I know of Prince Chandragupta. But I kind of relate to that because my wall, the walls that were around me a lot of times were religious, political. You grow up with people that surround you, and you come to find out that you think exactly like they think, that everything you think is exactly what they think. We all think, oh, we're so individual, we're so independent, my belief is so special, but it's really not, because if you really look at it, I can't tell you how many times someone lays out an argument, and it's like an argument I've heard a million times before from like a million other people, or all over the internet. I mean, if you're on the internet, you pretty much know the base argument of everybody on the right and everybody on the left. And on occasion, you'll hear like that really special argument that someone else thought without, influence from either side, that they thought themselves. They're like, hey, look at this fact, this fact, this fact. Anyways, I remember after I graduated high school, I started questioning everything. Existence, what it meant to be alive, and I was extremely afraid to go out into the world and do something because it was like, well, what if I fuck up? What if I fail? Mom and dad won't be there to help me. And what was really incredible is I came to this realization that even sitting at my house, I feel like every day is assured to me, or insured. Guaranteed? Let's say that. Every day was guaranteed. I knew exactly how every day was going to be. But the fact was, it's always been, and forever will be, unpredictable. There will never be a day that's predictable. I mean, you might be able to think that it is, but all in all, it really isn't. Anything could happen. At any moment, you could die. At any moment, some terrible tragedy could befall you. And I started really examining what was happening around me, and I remember my dad had just gotten diagnosed with diabetes. My mother, I caught her smoking one day, even though she had claimed to quit. And I thought, one of my parents probably aren't going to be around very much longer. My mom or my dad, they're going to pass away. Maybe both, I didn't really think my mom would pass away because it was like, for the most part, I thought she was in relatively good health. My dad, on the other hand, I was like, man, there's no way he's going to be around in the next 5 years. But I also kind of left the door open for my mom when I found out she was smoking, because I thought, well, there's always that chance she could get cancer. And when I realized that, I was like, well, I need to do something, because if either one of them passed away in the next 5 years, I would be fucked. I'm stuck. There's no escaping if I don't do something. And so I got really crazy and just started thinking, well, what is it I could do with my life that I would find pleasing? And I really thought about what was important to me. One thing that wasn't very important to me was money. I'd watch my mom and dad struggle and scrap for cash, and just to keep a house over, a roof over our heads. And I saw how miserable, the pursuit of acquiring cash, was for them. And I just kind of felt like, yeah, of course you need money to survive, but that's, as long as I have enough to survive, that's all I need. I'm not really worried about having a house. I really don't care about having a family. What I want is, I want to do the things that I want to do with my life, and yeah, maybe just a little place to live, maybe like an apartment. That's one thing that really kind of hit home. And then I thought, what else do I want to do? Well, I want to make sure whatever it is that I'm doing is helping somebody, that I'm helping other people get to where they want to be. And so I didn't know what that was. And one day while I was watching a foreign movie, I decided, hey, you know what? I was watching all these foreign movies. Just so happened while I was watching a Japanese movie called Outrage, I decided, damn, that's it. I wonder if I can learn Japanese. If I was watching a Korean movie at the time, hell, I'd probably be speaking Korean or German, or it just depends on what movie I was watching at the time. And but it just so happened to be a Japanese movie, and I remember I got on YouTube shortly after watching that movie and Googling or YouTubing, how do you speak Japanese? 3 minutes I could introduce myself. I could say, Hajime mashite, boku wa kerubu desu, dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my god, I can speak another language. It was so easy. This language is so easy. I was wrong. It's not an easy language. It's an incredibly fucking hard language. But I did learn that language, and I'm still learning that language, and I love this language. I own this language. It is my language. I love it. And man, I felt like I got off track on that language thing. But let's get back on track. But when I decided that, when I found this language, I found out that a lot of kids in Japan, a lot of people in Japan can't speak English, and that there was a high demand for English-speaking natives who could teach them English. And I decided, damn, that's what I'm going to do. And I made this like 5-year plan. I was like, all right, I'm going to go get my associate's degree in 2 years, and in 3 years I'm going to have a bachelor's. Didn't go quite as planned. Took 7. It took 7 years to get everything together. I had to get my associates because I didn't have good grades in high school, but once I got the associate's degree, I was able to enter into Murray State University and get me a bachelor's in the Japanese language. And during that time, I got to live in Japan for a whole year. And, one thing I could say about my university life was it was one of the most depressing and anxious times of my life, but it was full of so many wonderful and incredible experiences that had I never left the shelter of my roof, had I never taken a chance, I would have never experienced. I've met so many people from around the world. I've got friends in Russia, Germany, friends in Korea, Japan, Finland. I mean, some of the countries you don't even know exist. Kazakhstan. Not trying to downplay Kazakhstan, important country. But, I got friends everywhere, and they all love me, and they all want to see me as soon as I get out there traveling. But, that's the advice I would give to somebody, is that, well, let me just say this. When I got to Japan, I took up 3 different English teaching jobs. And at the time, I was very uncertain. I was very uncertain. I was like, well, I made it to Japan. What now? What now? And when I started teaching English, I remember having to fake a smile, having to force a smile during a job interview, and act like I was fine, but I was so bad. I was so bad depressed. I was low energy. I was fucked up. I forced a smile, and I wasn't even sure I could do it. I remember leaving after she gave me the job and thinking, damn, can I really do this? Can I really do this? Can I really do this job? And I went in for my first shift. It was 2 classes, 2 hours, and I loved it. And I knew throughout that 6 months of teaching English in 3 different locations, I knew this is what I want to do with my life. This is it. This is my thing right here, and I'm going to take ownership of that. And so after that, it didn't matter how depressed, it didn't matter how anxious, didn't matter how low energy I was going to force myself to get up every single day and do the things I needed to do to make sure that's what I could do with the rest of my life. And so that's the advice I would give to myself, or anybody just getting out of high school, or I guess really anybody of any age, is that, you know, there will always be a reason why you shouldn't do something. You know, I can sit here and think of a million reasons why. I remember going through that 7 years. It was so depressing, so painful, so anxious. There was just so much pressure on me because I was paying my own way. I was so financially unstable. People didn't like me because of how overpowering my personality is. You know, there was just so many problems that just came up. You know, I always say, if you really want to figure out how badly you're fucked up, go out and try and accomplish something, because all those problems, they come rising to the surface. But the good thing about that is it allows you to honestly look at it and work on it. And so I don't regret it. It helped me do exactly what I wanted to do. It helped me grow up in a lot of ways. But that's advice I give to myself, is like, yeah, people can give you a million reasons why you shouldn't do that and why you should do this, but the truth is, or it's just like my grandfather said to me, 2 years into my university career, right before I went to Japan, he said to me, no one can live your life for you. Your parents can't live your life for you. You got to go out there and do it. He sat there and told me a story about how he joined the Air Force, and right as he was getting on the bus to go to the Air Force basic training, he called his father, and when he told him, his father just flipped out. And I remember how much that story meant to me, because I was like, damn, I wonder if when I'm 80 years old and I'm talking to my grandkid who's like, Dad's just kind of being an asshole to me, if I'm going to be like, look, he means well. But he can't live your life for you. You gotta go out there and do your thing. You gotta go out there and find what it is that makes you happy. And don't let other people decide for you, because they don't know. The other piece of advice is that, we live in this weird world right now. People are really, really afraid of speaking their minds. Of having their own opinions, having their own beliefs. In fact, I think most of us, especially in America, I think we don't really know how to formulate our own opinions and beliefs. I think, man, it's like every time I talk to someone, I'm just talking to a carbon copy, of something else, some other way of thinking. It's so easy for me to tell when someone has no idea what they're talking about, when they're saying the exact same thing that like thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of other people are saying. Donald Trump is great because of this, this, and this. Okay, did you come up with that argument yourself, or did you just copy what everybody else told you to say because you're flying the same flag as them? I'm not trying to shit on Donald Trump. Don't give a fuck about that guy. I'm just saying. Hillary, let's flip the table. Hillary Clinton's freaking great because this, this, and this. Okay, well, are you thinking that because, you actually thought about it? Did you actually go and research what she was about? What did you go look into her background? And I don't think people do. They want the easiest, most least effort way to formulate an opinion, and the easiest way to do that, just read someone else's and copy it. And the one thing I wish I could just get through to everybody is don't be afraid to look at your own ideas and question them. Don't be afraid to look at what you think and what you believe and go, is this right? Is this really a good way to think? Or if you're offended and mad and angry at someone because they think something differently than you, ask yourself, why am I mad at them? Why am I angry? Is it because they're so stupid, or is it because I'm so willfully, ignorant of their position and so insecure to lose my position that I don't even want to listen? If it took me years. I remember when I first left Christianity, and if anybody here who's listening to this is a Christian, I just want to let you know I don't care. That's fine. Got nothing against you. I didn't leave Christianity out of hatred or malice or anger. I think I just said 3 different types of the same thing, but I didn't leave Christianity for what I would consider emotional reasons. I left Christianity because I continually questioned it, and I mean, just after scrutiny, tons of scrutiny, and getting really deep into it, it just didn't hold up. Is there a God out there? Maybe, possibly. Even if there was a God out there, would we know what that God is? Probably not. I mean, we're a pretty stupid species. I mean, we're in danger of destroying ourselves, so we can't be the smartest bunch. Man, I need to wrap this up. I've been going on almost 20 minutes now, but let me just finish by saying this is, when I first started questioning Christianity, I was horrified. I was so scared. I remember my blood pressure must have been up. It's probably the first time I ever had panic attacks, and I just didn't realize it because the way I was raised, I really believed that by not believing, I could be attacked by the devil. That the devil could take over my truck and drive me to a ditch just to have my soul in hell. It's like, a moment of weakness, now I'll kill him, so that way now he's in hell and now I can torture him for the rest of his life. Or God would treat me like someone from Sodom and Gomorrah and just blast me into dust. Or anybody who sinned. I mean, if you can read the Old Testament, there's countless examples of God just murdering people because they didn't do what he thought was right. And I remember I lasted a week. The way I fixed this is I decided I'm going to leave Christianity. But I'm not really leaving. I'm just kind of taking a step back. And I'm just going to kind of I'm going to act like I'm a jury, right? I'm not going to have a position. I'm just going to look at the facts. And in my mind, I was like, by the end of this, my faith will only be reinforced. I will only be a better Christian. But the more I read the Bible, the more I questioned, the more I was like, damn, I do not agree with like 99% of the shit. It was like only most of the stuff Jesus was saying that I was like, hey, that makes sense. The other shit, man, I can do without that. And then there were some parts of Jesus that I was like, I don't know. Walk around with a sword in your mouth and causing brother to rise against brother. I'm not really into that whole thing. I love my brother. But, yeah. So, basically, like I was saying, that for about a week, I lasted about a week when I tried to step back, and the pressure was just I was so scared of the devil or God or what would happen to my soul that I just instantly fell right back in line. I was like, no, back into Christianity. It was like running back to, it's kind of like stepping off into the darkness and then running back to the light as quick as possible, because the darkness is so, we have this fear of the dark, and if you look at any I don't know, weird tale. I mean, Christianity, the light is good and the darkness is bad. But it's kind of like that Shadows Fall song, the light blinds. And the darkness, it's not so scary once you go out there. I like running in the dark. I go running in the dark and it's like, I used to be so horrified of the dark, but the more I expose myself to it, the more I realize it's not that scary. It's just the absence of light. And, it's no more dangerous than if it were daytime. In fact, it might be safer because no one can see me. Unless you run around the roads, then it might be kind of dangerous. Don't run around the roads at night with black clothing on like I do. But my point is, God, I'm not making a good point. My point is, I'm finally getting here, 20 minutes in, and I'm done after this. The point is that can't, once I really started questioning and I really started looking at what it is I believed, I realized that I didn't really have a reason to believe it. That what I believed had been placed there for me, and it wasn't something I believed myself. Someone else put that there. My parents and their parents and the parents before them and them and them. And you can go so far back. The society around us. I mean, it's not hard to be a Christian in Tennessee. It's not hard to be a Christian in any southern state. We live in probably one of the most Christian parts of the world. I mean, depends on how you interpret the Bible, but everybody claims, oh yes, Jesus, praise Jesus, right? Try being an atheist in Tennessee. That's pretty fucking tough, because everybody stares at you like you got a big old dick growing out of your head if you don't believe what they believe. I swear to God they do. So, don't be afraid to formulate your own beliefs. Don't be afraid to look at what you believe and question it. And you can't just do it one time. It's got to be a daily thing. It's got to be, because you'll think, oh man, I whittled it down and now I'm at this place where it's like, oh, this is exactly, now I know what I believe. And then you'll realize, oh shit, now there's other things I believe that were put there for me. I don't even know why I believe those things. So you continually do that, probably for the rest of your life, because it's pretty easy to pick up something and run with it. It's really hard to sit there. There's too much information to really comb through all of it. So a lot of times I try not to have opinion on it, on the things I don't know about, but the things I do know about, or I have an opinion on, So anyways, I rambled. Thank you guys for listening to my shit, and just know that you're not alone. And even when it gets hard, you gotta keep going. And don't be afraid to believe what you want to believe. Don't let other people put that shit there for you. If you're a Christian, man, find a way to believe in Christianity in your own way. If you're an atheist, man, and you got all these Christian people around you shitting on you, they probably love you. They probably care about you. Don't be upset. They probably really care about you. That's why they keep shitting on you. They want you to believe what they believe. And another thing I want to say is be honest with yourself, because I think when you're honest with yourself, that's when you can accomplish the most. I remember when I was younger, there was a fella, he was really fat. He was god-awfully fat, and everybody considered him a stalker, creepy. He was bullied, and he would always say, girls should like me for who I am. And I kind of agreed with him on that part. Mainly because I was fat too. No girls wanted to date me because I was 265 pounds. I was crazy, but I think a lot of it was weight. And I kept thinking to myself, well, girls should like me for who I am. And I said that to myself up until about the time I graduated, and I came to this realization. Because after I graduated, it was the first time that I sat around and actually thought about, who I was, what it is that I wanted. And I remember thinking, girls should like me for who I am. And the reply that came to me in my own head was, for what? A fat fuck? A guy who doesn't take care of himself? And yeah, it might sound harsh, but I think I was being pretty honest. And don't get me wrong, I didn't have anything against me. I didn't have anything against being fat. I enjoyed being fat. I ate a lot of really delicious food at that time, but then I realized, I was like, well, if I really want to meet somebody, maybe I should try and take better care of myself. And so I started exercising a lot more, and and I lost a bunch of weight, which I gained it back quite a bit. Recently I've been kind of gaining a little bit more weight, but that honesty drove me to lose a lot of weight. It caused a lot of other problems because I became really self-conscious about my weight because I was trying to lose so much weight, but I was really honest, and it enabled me to lose more weight. And I think because that same honesty, at some point I realized, there's kind of this happy medium of where I want to be. You know, I don't want to be like super in shape, but you know, I don't want to be overly, you know, morbidly obese either. So I feel like I'm in that happy medium right now, though I am trying to get back in shape right now. But that's just what I'm saying. Don't be afraid to be honest with yourself. Like if you're not doing all you can do, don't sit there and lie to yourself. Don't sit there and try and make excuses to yourself, because I feel like 9 times out of 10 we're the ones that, you know, we lie to ourselves more than anybody. You know, we sit there and make up these stories of why we can't do it and why we don't have the capabilities, and maybe one day, and then it just never happens, you know. And I think that's a really important thing that I just wish someone would have told me when I was younger, is, you know, be honest with yourself. Because, you know, there's nothing wrong with being imperfect. You know, I would say I am probably one of the most imperfect people. Sometimes I would almost venture to say borderline retarded, but you know, yeah, that's me being honest with myself. And man, the more honest you are with yourself, the more you accomplish. And I think that there's a lot of self-esteem that comes from being honest with yourself about who you are. Because when you're honest with yourself, you actually know who you are. You know, if you're making up lies about yourself, then you don't really know yourself, and you know, you try and be this person you're really not, and everybody else around you can see through it. You think you're fooling everybody, but everybody else, I guarantee it. Man, when I talk to people that are full of shit, I can see it. When I'm talking to people that are trying to be someone they're not, it's like I can see it a mile away. I can see these insecurities from a mile away, because I'm like, damn, that's me, man. That was me. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm not insecure in any way anymore. There are insecurities I have, and there are probably ways I could be honest with myself and haven't been. But man, I think I've rambled enough, and I hope some of my advice has gone through to somebody out there. And I just want to say thank you for listening. And if you like what you heard, give me a like and subscribe. I should really do more content like this, because man, it is therapeutic to just sit here and ramble for like 25-30 minutes straight. Anyways, I'm off here. I'm stopping this video. I'm stopping this madness. Again, thank you.